Greetings, ROTC. Boom! I'm excited today to talk about leadership. As we've talked and mentioned and spoke about in class before, leadership is one of the cornerstones of our program. Today, we're going to talk about the first 7 of our 14 leadership traits. Every experience that a Marine or a cadet has, every conversation, every publication, every leadership book, every instruction on leadership in the Marine Corps and ROTC, all can be traced back to our 14 leadership traits and our 11 leadership principles. Today, let's dive into those first 7 of our 14 leadership traits. Why are we here? Well, the purpose of this lesson is going to provide you examples of the 14 leadership traits used in the Marine Corps and in our JROTC program. So what are your objectives? What do I expect you to have learned before the end of this period of instruction? Well, number one, I want you to be able to define each of our leadership traits, and I want you to be able to give a real world, an ROTC, or a personal experience, an example of each of the leadership traits. I want you to understand that you are responsible for describing how these 14 leadership traits apply to the ROTC program. But I'd like you to take it a step further and see how that these 14 leadership traits can be applied to your daily lives as well. Throughout this period of instruction and through our conversations, you'll find that a lot of corporate businessmen and women, a lot of executives, a lot of business owners, regardless of whether they have military experience or not, will take the Marine Corps' versions of the leadership traits and principles, and they'll apply those to their daily routines and their practices and their management of their corporations and businesses in order to be successful. So in order to have a better understanding of some of the jargon and the lingo throughout this class, let's talk about some of our key words. The importance, the power, and the reputation that a person has is called their stature. Now, within our military rank structure, the higher rank you earn, the more responsibilities you have, the higher stature you gain. Showing concern, showing sympathy, and having an understanding for someone who's suffering is being compassionate. An action towards another that's going to put them down or to have what you say make other people have less respect for them, that's being demeaning. Talking down to someone or acting towards someone or a group of people in a way that makes them feel like you're emphasizing your superiority over them in a negative way is being condescending. All right, you're trying to take your stature, you're trying to make someone else look bad in order to make yourself look good, either through your actions or your words, is being condescending. You want to be discreet. The quality of behaving in a quiet and controlled manner without drawing attention to yourself or giving away personal private information is discretion. Now, sometimes cadets and Marines alike are only going to learn through someone else's mistakes or their own mistakes. And you're going to need to draw attention to that in order to help them learn. But when it comes to personal or private information, when it comes time for someone who has built trust in you, that comes to you in order to get help, and they want you to take care of them without everybody knowing their business, as a leader, you're responsible for being discreet and making sure you're taking care of them without putting all their personal business out on Front Street. So what are leadership traits? Well, they're qualities of thought and action, which, if demonstrated in daily activities, will help Marines and cadets earn the respect, confidence, and loyal cooperation of their fellow Marines or their fellow cadets. It's extremely important that you understand the meaning of each and every leadership trait and how to develop them so that you know what goals to set as you become a good leader and a good follower. In order to become a good leader, you have to have become a good follower first. Like any branch of the service, the Marine Corps loves its acronyms. So, in order to help you learn your leadership traits, and there's another one for principles, let's first talk about what the acronym is to memorize your leadership traits. JJ did tie buckle. Now listen, I don't know who JJ is. I don't know why he tied his buckle. To be quite honest, I don't even know how you would tie a buckle. That doesn't even make sense. But It's a good little ditty, if you will. It's a good little catchphrase, if you will. It's a good acronym to remember what your leadership traits are. Now, you, when you're being tested, don't have to recite these in any specific order. As long as you hit all 14, we're good to go. But this is an easy way to remember them. So let's talk about what the first J is. J stands for justice. The next J stands for judgment. D, D-I-D. The first D stands for dependability. I stands for integrity. The second D stands for decisiveness. Now, let's move on to tie. The T in tie stands for tact. The I represents initiative. And the E is for endurance. So let's get into buckle. The B in buckle stands for bearing. U is unselfishness. C is courage. K is knowledge. L is loyalty. And E is enthusiasm. JJ did tie buckle. Now, what I will say is it will be easier to use the acronym to memorize these. Initially, memorize what the words are, and then you'll be able to develop a sense of what each of these words mean. Let's watch this video.
We don't care where you came from. We don't care what color you are. All recruits are treated the same way and given the same chances as well. The ability to be able to treat other people fairly, firmly, with justice, that's something that you learn in the Marine Corps.
It's a trait that you're exercising and being put to the test on a day-to-day basis.
It's crucial to the morale of a unit that justice is exhibited by the leader of that unit, whether it's the equal opportunity policy that we have or choosing exactly who's going to be going on what mission.
During my most recent deployment, I was interacting on a daily basis with local Iraqi officials, tribal leaders, resolving many local disputes, and improving the local infrastructure. It taught me conflict resolution and understanding group dynamics.
Justice is required to enforce discipline to make sure that everybody's being treated equally, that discipline is being kept throughout the unit. My job in the courtroom is to make sure that you are innocent until proven guilty, that you're not treated unfairly in that respect.
I've never met a Marine or even a civilian that minded being treated firmly if it was fairly.
The next J stands for judgment. Judgment is the ability to weigh all the facts before making the best possible choice. As you gain more experiences in ROTC, as you have more opportunities to get out and lead other cadets, as you find yourself on all of our extracurricular activities outside the classroom, you're going to have the opportunity to use these experiences to develop your judgment. You got to examine the situation carefully before you can make a good decision. Sound and timely decisions fall under the category of being decisive, which we'll talk about later. But time is what is going to force you to balance judgment and decisiveness. It's going to be a fine line to walk sometimes.
Judgment is incredibly important in the Marine Corps because Marines rely on you to make life-saving decisions.
The most junior Marine needs to make important decisions throughout his Marine Corps career, and especially in combat. We want Marines to be able to make the right decision at the right time.
It's vital to possess judgment as a leader of Marines. Day in and day out, you have Marines' lives in your hands, and you have to be able to make the correct judgments, or at least make the best judgment that you can with whatever information is available to you.
You assign one mission and you accomplish it, and then you find out, hey, you could have done it in a better way. So the next time it comes up, your judgment is a lot better.
Showing good judgment is something that Marines are trained to do in any situation, whether it be a family situation at home or when they're deployed overseas.
People want the challenge of becoming a Marine, and I have to always exercise judgment in front of these young men and women because they look at me as the Marine Corps.
Growing up, didn't really know what I wanted to do, made bad calls. Being in the Marine Corps has definitely put me on the right track to doing what's right.
When you take a young person and you give them that type of training,
those type of opportunities. It's inevitable. They're going to come back to society as better citizens.
D stands for dependability. What is dependability? It means that you are doing what you say you are going to do. Being a reliable person is one of the most valuable human traits that someone, and a quality that someone can show and possess. Very important in the Marine Corps, very important in ROTC. As it relates to being reliable and dependable as a senior person, this quality is of utmost importance. Your cadets need to know, not just by your words, not by lip service, but they need to know by your actions that you are someone that they can rely on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As a leader, you need to understand that your team members are depending on you to lead them safely under any circumstances whatsoever. Also, they need to know that you're going to be able to lead them not just when it's convenient for you, not just when you are here at school, not just between school hours, all day, every day.
In my mind, dependability is the most important of the traits because it's the basis on which the rest is built.
As a Marine, it's important to have dependability so that your Marines and your senior leadership know, even in times of hardship, you are someone who can be counted on.
Nobody operates independently in the Marine Corps. Scout sniper teams, reconnaissance teams, at a minimum, always go out in pairs, typically in 4 or 6 man teams.
When you're in an environment where you're conducting military operations in a foreign country and there's a lot of risk involved in carrying out those operations, you quickly learn to depend on the Marines around you.
Marines make a living in the Marine Corps taking care of the Marines to the left and right. And that carries over to the civilian world and the community. When Marines go home and they're coaching their daughter's softball league, their son's baseball team, that carries over exponentially. Just being a normal family man, being a father, being a husband. My family depends on me to do the right things, to provide, to take care of business at home too.
He does everything that he can for anybody in any time of need. He's always there for people. And just, he's the classic Marine.
I love you guys a lot. 2 more months.
And I think that's the main quality that you need in a friend and also a Marine. Is just, he has your back no matter what.
Integrity, integrity, integrity. You will consistently hear the senior Marine instructor and the Marine instructor beat this horse until it's dead. Integrity means that in order to lead, you must be honest, upright, and you must be truthful in not just your words, but your actions. Now, I'm not naive, and I understand that although you're a part of the best JROTC program on planet Earth, and you want to believe that we are all men and women of exceptional character, the reality is you're in high school, and you're going to be asked to lie. You're going to be asked to cheat. You're going to be asked to engage in illegal activities. I wish I could say that all of our cadets had met this integrity leadership trait with vigor. But the reality is, even our cadets falter from time to time. I am begging and imploring you that even if you struggle with all aspects of JROTC, if you understand that if you are a man or woman of exemplary character and you are honest and forthright, then the senior Marine instructor and I will have your back at all times. If, as a leader, you behave in an unethical manner, then your team members are going to distrust you. Once you've lost that trust, you will find it very, very difficult to regain it. Then you're going to find yourself still in a leadership position, forcing or trying to force people to do what they need to do because you're their leader, and they're just not going to do it because they don't trust you, because you're a liar, because you're a cheat, because you engage in illegal activities.
Integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking, being able to follow through.
That sense of doing what's right is something the Marine Corps instills in you from the very first moment.
Recruits look up to drill instructors on a daily basis. If we're setting the example by having integrity, they're going to follow suit.
He's always had high integrity, but I think the Marine Corps, again, was able to build upon that. because it is part of the Marine Corps culture.
I teach these recruits how to be better sons, better brothers, better uncles, just better people in general.
He is a leader in the Marine Corps, and he is a leader in our family 24/7, whether he's in uniform or not. He shows integrity every day in everything that he does.
We're role models. When we do the right thing over there, the civilian populace sees it, and they know that we're there to help, not to hurt.
Just going to make them a better Marine, better leader, and just a better overall person.
Decisiveness ties hand in hand, in my opinion, with judgment. Decisiveness is a quality that allows you to take swift and firm action. In order to do that, you've got to have all the facts. You've got to have the courage to make that decision and the ability to act quickly. Now, there's this thing in the Marine Corps that we call the 70% solution. What that means is a leader needs to make a decision in order to get the job started, in order to get the mission accomplishment. If they don't have all available facts, or if they just need to get started, then they need to develop a 70% solution. What that will do for them is it'll get the ball rolling. It'll get all the key players in the positions that they need to be in order to get that mission at least started. And then they can adjust accordingly with that other 30% of information that they probably don't have. In order to get that mission accomplished, they can act and react accordingly. Now, I would prefer the 70% solution and a decisive leader as opposed to someone who's going to take forever. They're going to sit around and have conference calls. They're going to ask everybody and their brother what their opinion is. They're going to go home and look up their tarot cards or open up fortune cookies or refer to their astrological zodiac sign before they actually have the courage to make a decision. 70% solution will get you started every time.
Decisiveness is an important leadership trait in the Marine Corps because you have to be able to rapidly think on your feet and be able to accomplish any mission.
Sometimes you are faced with very challenging decisions in reference to your daily duties, in reference to what's right and what's wrong.
I'm always taking charge. I'm always the one that says, you know what, I'll make the decisions even if they're tough.
They depend on me. I'm their platoon sergeant. I got to lead them through it.
Shut up! Come here, let's go! All right, let's go!
You not only have to think in terms of the mission that you have to carry out, you're also constantly thinking about the safety of your Marines.
Do you understand? Yes, sir.
When you're faced with a decision, you have to make a decision. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The worst decision in the world is to do nothing.
The decisions that you make are true life and death decisions. The decisiveness that you get as a Marine, it absolutely will last and be forever.
So now we've gotten, as it relates to the acronym, to TIE. The T in TIE stands for TACT. TACT is the ability to deal with others with dignity and respect. You should speak to others without being demeaning or condescending. Don't make someone else look bad in order to make yourself look good. Treat others how you would want to be treated. That's pretty simple. Now, sometimes you're going to have to deal with cadets who are being disrespectful. Maybe they are not taking a tactful approach to how you're correcting them. You might have to turn the volume up a little bit. You might have to put them in a position of attention. But in the end, if they're not being tactful, refer them to the Marine instructor, the senior Marine instructor, and we'll take care of them. Sometimes people are going to have to be dealt with in an uncomfortable manner. But you can still do that with tact. You can still do that without being demeaning, and you can still do that without being condescending.
During an enlistment with the Marine Corps, you're going to be exposed to a lot of people, and you're going to have to learn to deal with the differences that they bring. And to do that, you're going to have to learn tact.
In some cases, I deal with Marines that are at much higher levels than I am, and we may have professional disagreements. And at that point, as me as a young staff sergeant, it's my job to express my professional opinion to them in a manner that's respectful.
It was necessary for me to reach back into my experiences as a Marine and bring forth all of those skill sets when dealing with the public, when dealing with my own peers.
You have to be able to work with your coworkers, whether you like them or not. You have to be able to work with defense counsel, whether you like him or not. TACT plays into all of that.
We always go with the old adage that, you know, to get respect, you have to give respect. And I absolutely believe that.
Not everyone sees eye to eye on things. Sometimes you may disagree with somebody, but the way that you confront that individual or individuals on a disagreement will tell a lot about the person that you are.
JJ did tie. We already talked about T. Let's talk about the I. I stands for initiative. Initiative is doing what needs to be done without having to be told. Now, we've got a lot of great Marines. We've got a lot of great cadets within our Corps and within our cadet program that ooze initiative. You don't have to tell them to do anything. They just look around and look to find what needs to be done. They're always asking about how they can help the program and what they can do to better themselves and those around them. Unfortunately, human nature often creeps in. And human nature forces us sometimes to sit back and just hope that someone else is going to do it. That hope that someone else is going to take charge. Well, listen, hope is not an option. Hope is not a tactic. Initiative is necessary in our program. It will often be necessary for you to work without any supervision, meaning you might just get an email. You might get a reminder. You might get a phone call from your cadet leader. In order for us to get things done, sometimes there's not going to be anybody there to babysit you to get it done. If something needs to get done, just do it. If a piece of trash is outside of our classroom, don't wait for somebody else to pick it up. Don't wait for the janitor to pick it up. Just do it. If a cadet needs help rolling their sleeves, don't stand around the commons in the morning and walk around looking at everybody who's 6 degrees of screwed up and not do anything to help them. Don't let a cadet fail a test. Take the time to study with them. Initiative is so valuable to leadership.
You aren't going to have anyone looking over your shoulders, telling you what to do and how to do it, when to do it every time.
The commander will task you to do something. He won't give you specific, but just in general, hey, get this done, and leaves it up to you.
Even out in the civilian world at jobs, people want to be led, but nobody wants to lead. But we teach our recruits, once they become Marines, they lead.
When I think about the people that really stood out in my time in the Marine Corps, or the people that stand out now in my current job, you know, it is people who move quickly and are willing to take the initiative to identify a problem and an issue and step up to be proactive to go solve it.
You need to be able to see what the challenge is, and you take on the responsibility of that challenge, and you use your initiative to accomplish it.
So, today we've talked about all of our 14 leadership traits as it relates to the acronym, but we dove deep into the first 7 leadership traits. Let's review our acronym before we end this period of instruction. J, justice. J, judgment. D, dependability. I, integrity. D, decisiveness. T, tact. I, initiative. E, endurance. B, bearing. U, unselfishness. C, courage. K, knowledge. L, loyalty. E, enthusiasm. I hope today that you've learned something that is going to be of value to you. I believe that this is a good starting point as it relates to our 14 leadership traits by splitting this in half. During the next period of instruction, we will cover the remainder of the 14 leadership traits, and we'll dive a bit deeper in how they can help you not just within this program, but in life. Semper Fidelis, hoorah, and a yut yut!